Alright guys, so now we're ready to treat. Now the treating process, what we are using is we're just combining half the amount of diesel fuel and half the amount of oil. We're stirring it up and then we're applying it onto this thing, and what that's going to do is it's going to soak into this stuff and act as a repellent to keep out moisture. So we're going to put on plenty. We're going to make sure that there gets plenty in there. With there being cracks in this, we're going to make sure that we're getting enough down in those cracks that it's sealing up. And what we want to do is just create a blanket of treatment, and that's going to keep the moisture from getting into our structural material. Now this is just a one-step process to keep it dry, guys. The second step is for us to build enough of a roof system that no water should come into this. Now a lot of this is going to be prevention against ground moisture, and it's the moisture coming up or soaking in through the sides that comes into the soil. But we want to try and keep this as protected as possible. With it being underneath of a gigantic roof, we should be good to go and stop any air moisture from getting down, or at least coming from the air. So any of that top moisture coming down, if we've got snow around the building and it pushes to the sides, it's going to come down into the sides as well. So we just need to make sure we put on plenty. So guys, we're laying it on really thick, and the reason for that is we want it to soak down in there. We don't want it to dissipate. We want it to soak down and still be plenty on the top as well as going down in. Now what I do for this process is I just turn it when I'm ready for the next one. So you can see on this side where our boards are coming together, that creates cracks in here, and moisture can get down and into those cracks. So what we want to do is to get our prevention down into those cracks and create a sealant. Now this is just a one-step process to what we're doing. There's going to be two parts to sealing this stuff in and creating a treatment. And once we're done with this process, I'm going to grab one that's already dried and I'll show you guys the second step. I'm making sure to get plenty on here because I do want it down in the cracks. If you look down in the cracks and you can still see some of the redwood, just put more on. Let it run down through there. There's no harm in that. Now this stuff takes a while to dry, guys, so make sure that you give yourself a few days. You want to give yourself a few days to allow it to dry, because the next step that we're putting on, the process we're putting on, is we're going to lay a sealant on here, and it's going to hold anything that's in there. Now we don't want this moisture to be in there, we want it to be dry. Okay guys, on our last side, almost done. We are going to hit this bottom as well. We are going to treat that bottom to create protection there so no ground moisture sucks up through it, and this will help to repel the water. So what I'm doing is I'm going up about 4.5 feet, and the reason for that is that our holes are a little over 3 feet deep, so we want to make sure that we're sticking out above our dirt with our treatment process. we're also going to be backfilling behind it. So we're actually going to probably be putting in close to another 8-9 inches of dirt on top of the hole that's already existing, just to level everything out. So I'm coming up 4.5 feet just to make sure I don't have to go back and do it again. Guys, we're all done with that, so we got our treatment on. Now the next step is to take this over and let it dry. What we're going to do is we're going to grab a dry one and bring it back over and show you guys the rest of the process. Alright guys, so now that we have these ones dried, this is a dry one here. We've let it sit for a couple days now and it's ready to go. We're going to apply this stuff. This stuff is blackjack. It's an asphalt sealant and we're going to apply it. It's going to go on like liquid, but it's going to dry like concrete. Now we're only going to apply this to the sides. We're not going to apply it to the very end, and the reason for this is we're creating a hard shell basically that water can't penetrate. But if water does get into our beam and it runs down, we're not going to put any sealant at the bottom so that it has the ability to run out. Once moisture gets into these, the rotting process begins, and we don't want to trap the water in. But we're going to seal the rest of this in the hopes to keep all moisture from ever entering the entire post. Alright guys, so that is it for today. Nobody wants to watch me do 8 of these. We're going to put this treatment on, go through it, let it dry. We've got to make 3 more of our posts, and then we're ready to start setting this stuff up. So on the next episode of the series, you guys are going to see these posts go into the ground, start to get leveled, and watch this thing come to life. We're excited to get this thing going, guys. We hope that you follow this journey, watch this thing go up and get a few ideas along the way. The idea is to keep it cheap, but still keep it strong. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.